Hey guys, welcome back. So, in this episode of The Next Multibagger, we're going to be taking a deep dive into Srax, ticker symbol SRAX. Now, Srax is a technology company that offers a platform for public companies to be able to track their investors' behaviors and trends, and then to be able to use those insights to be able to engage their investors across multiple different marketing channels. Now, this platform called Sequire is growing rapidly and has seen really good momentum within this whole entire year. Now, Srax does have a troubled past, as over the past couple years, the revenue has slowed down drastically, which in turn had a negative impact on their stock price. Now, it does look like things are turning around at Srax, as this Sequire platform is seeing a lot of adoption and seeing very fast revenue growth of over 300% year over year. So can Srax capitalize on this opportunity and continue to scale their SaaS platform? Or will Srax continue to underperform and not see any growth in the future? In this episode, we'll be breaking down all that, and I'll give you some of my thoughts on whether or not it could be a good long-term investment. So let's first dive into each side of their business, as Srax has two distinct businesses, Sequire and BigToken. Now, Sequire is an operating system for publicly traded companies, while BigToken allows customers to use their own data. Now, diving into Sequire, they're a premier operating system for publicly traded companies. They allow these public companies to be able to track their investors through buying and selling behaviors, and then to be able to use those insights to engage them across different marketing channels. Now, in Sequire's Q4, which ended in March 2021, they actually had 182 clients that joined the Sequire platform. Now, as for some of their features, for one, they offer shareholder tracking. To be able to track their different shareholders, their percentage ownership, as well as top participants and other stock-related information. They also have an institutional database where they can see total institutional investor shares. They have additional features such as shareholder surveys to be able to get better insights from their investors. A feature that they recently added is being able to manage their warrants. So it shows warrant insights as well as the distribution of these warrants. And on top of all this, they have something called Sequire Media, which are targeted investment ads that go on different media platforms, such as StockTwits and Reddit. These can be anything from banners all the way to short video ads. Now, these advertisements would be placed either on the top or on the right of these different forums, such as StockTwits and Reddit, to be able to further influence these retail investors. This can also be translated to social media, as they do offer these media ads on social, such as on Facebook and Twitter. Now, the big question that we all want answered is, how fast is Sequire growing? Now, Sequire is actually seeing pretty substantial growth in subscribers, revenue, and with booking. We can see of Q1 of 2019, they only had around 59 subscribers, with around $100,000 of revenue, with around $800,000 of bookings. Now, fast forward to this year of Q1, they have 183 subscribers, with revenue around $5 million and total bookings of around $10 million. So we can clearly see that they've made substantial progress in growing their subscriber count, as well as their revenue and with their bookings. Now, in looking at their financials, less BigToken, we can see that they've seen substantial progress on the top and bottom line. Now, for the fiscal year of 2019, they were only doing around $355,000 in total revenue, which in turn led to a $1.2 million loss in their net income. Now, in the next year for 2020, their total revenue was around $6.5 million with a positive net income of $1.5 million. So we can see that they've made really good progress on both their top line and on their bottom line. Now, the key standout to me is that for the fourth quarter of 2020, not only did they do around $3.5 million in total revenue, but they actually saw positive EBITDA for the first time of $255,000. This is a huge step, as it shows that the Sequire platform can be profitable at an early stage, and if they are able to continue to scale this platform, they should be able to see impressive profits coming in later down their life cycle. Now, to sum it all up, let's talk about some of their major accomplishments. Now, they saw year-over-year revenue growth of 316%. They also saw quarter-over-quarter revenue growth of 74%. For the first time in this quarter, they saw positive net income, with a pro forma EBITDA of $255,000 and net income of $6.5 million. Now, we've talked about this development of the Sequire platform, and the adoption of the Sequire platform has been the game changer for Srax in the past year. They've seen 8 quarters of consecutive Sequire revenue growth, And it'll be imperative for them to continue growing this at a steady rate for them to continue to be successful for the future. They increased their number of Sequire clients from 125 to 183, and they secured Q1 Sequire bookings of around $10 million. Because of this positive progress, they actually increased their guidance from around 17 to 19 million all the way to 23 to 25 million for the full year of 2021. Now, they approximately hold around $23 million in marketable securities with their big ownership in BIGtoken. Lastly, they project their Q2 revenue to be around $7 million, and they actually reduced their debt to around $3.8 million from around $13 million in the year prior. So now that we know what Shrax is all about, as well as went over some of the recent financials, let's talk about both the pros and cons. Now, I wrote down some of my research notes when looking into Shrax, which I'm going to be discussing a little bit further in depth. Now, as for the pros, they're founder-led, as their CEO has been there for 11 years. He's very entrepreneurial. He has past experience creating his own businesses and actually selling them to other large parent companies. And on Glassdoor, they're rated around 3.5. So they have a pretty decent company culture rating. Now, they're creating this OS, Sequire, that they're growing rapidly and adding a lot of features to. For the last quarter, it was actually profitable, and they've been making significant progress by acquiring a lot of different companies and partners, as they now have around 183 compared to 92 since their Q3 release. Now, they've seen almost a double up from $5 million to $10 million for Sequire bookings into this next quarter, and they've seen 8 consecutive quarters of Sequire SaaS growth. Now, this translates to good momentum with their financials. The revenue of Q4 of $4.5 million was up around 300% year over year and 74% sequentially quarter over quarter, which actually exceeded their previous guidance. Now, the full year revenue guidance increased from 17 to 18 million to 23 to 25. And because they're a software service, they have very high margins, as their gross margin was 73% as compared to 44% in the year prior. Their net income was positive $200,000 compared to a net loss of $4.4 million in the same period last year. And they reduced their debt significantly to around $3.8 million, which we talked about earlier. They currently have cash of around $300 million on their balance sheet. What this leads to is a pretty attractive valuation. For the full year revenue guidance, taking the average of around $24 million, that means their current enterprise value would be around $78 million, translating to a 3.5 price of sales for this whole entire year. Now, they also own majority ownership in BIGtoken. Now, as a quick background, BIGtoken is a secure platform that enables their users to claim the value of their own data. With their platform, they allow you to earn and create from that data while staying connected to your own community. So essentially what this platform does is it allows you to either connect your social media accounts or allows you to share some of your personal data with this platform, and in exchange, it actually pays you out for the value of that data. Now, Shrax does own majority ownership of BIGtoken. However, they actually spun BIGtoken off into their own public entity, which is actually traded on the market, which I actually believe is a really good thing for them because BIGtoken was a money-losing business that was seeing slowing revenue growth. Now, BIGtoken has around 16 million registered users. So the question that I like to ask is, how do they better monetize their users on their platform to continue to grow? They also have this tailwind of customers increasingly becoming aware of their personal data. So it could be a big boost for BIGtoken moving forward. Lastly, they do have some pretty notable partnerships with repeat customers such as Kraft, Tyson, and Diego. Now, as for the cons, some of the things that stood out to me is that BIGtoken isn't really that impressive. As mentioned earlier, they have wide net losses and slowing revenue. And on the iOS store, they actually have multiple reviews claiming that no payments were made to their account, as well as poor customer service. Now, another concern is that they have slowing growth rates into 2022. The analyst estimates of $31 million in fiscal year 2022 is compared to $25 million in fiscal 2021. That translates to only 24% growth, if that's actually true. In that note, they also estimate negative earnings for fiscal year 2021 as well as flat for 2022. Now, this could lead to a good opportunity if they do beat this year and continue to hit profitability with their Sequire platform. Additionally, I have some questions about Sequire Media. I'm really curious of how big of an opportunity is selling stock ads on StockTwits and Reddit. Now, in my opinion, it doesn't really seem that massive, But there is a growing number of retail traders that are using social media that have been flooding the markets in the past year. Sequire Media is providing a way how to do so effectively. Lastly, this isn't revolutionary technology. There's many competitors in this market, and there's not that much differentiation. Now, I know there's a lot of different investor relations software platforms that are already established in this market. Now, what I'm trying to understand moving forward is how big of an opportunity is there for the specific set of analytics and insights that Strax offers. Now, in summary, retail traders are flooding the market at record rates, and public companies are looking for good ways to engage with these investors. Strax does this through its proprietary Sequire platform, where companies looking to connect with its current and potential investors have access to a complete set of investor intelligence and communication tools. It's clear that there's demand for their service, as revenue growth is up around 320% year over year and 75% sequentially. It has a failed past, but looks to be turning things around with their market adoption of their Sequire platform. Now that they have shown their ability to turn a profit, Sequire should be in full growth mode by acquiring more partners and bookings. If Strax is able to continue their consecutive quarters of Sequire SaaS growth, Strax could have a highly profitable SaaS business with a large tailwind behind them. One concern is analyst expectations of slowing growth rates in 2022 of only around 24%, a large deceleration of growth rates. BigToken, in my opinion, is a moonshot, but thankfully Strax was able to get them off their books as it has decelerating growth and increased net losses. I believe Strax is an attractive opportunity since they show promise with their Sequire platform, and if they are able to hit the revenue target of around $25 million for the year, I can foresee this company growing into around $250 million market cap, assuming a price of sales of around 10, which is pretty in line for a fast-growing SaaS company. As it stands right now, Strax currently trades around $4.50, with a market cap around $100 million. Now, on a longer-term basis, I can't confidently say of the viability of this service to be able to scale towards a $100 million annual run rate. So progress from upcoming quarterly earnings is imperative in knowing their ability to continue to grow for years to come. So with that, guys, that was my breakdown of Strax. If you guys get any value from this content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit like if you're watching this on YouTube. If you guys are listening to this on the pod, make sure to hit me with a 5 stars, and don't forget to join the community here on Patreon. With that, guys, thanks as always for sticking around. I'll see you in the next episode, and let's go get that bag.